What if I told you there is a country that fixes problems before they even become problems? No protests, no scrambling, just smooth, calm efficiency. In this video, we're diving deep into the Danish mindset, a way of thinking that's helped this tiny Nordic nation become one of the most resilient, efficient, and forward-thinking societies on the planet. We're talking about how Denmark uses design thinking, data, trust, and even furniture layout to sidestep disasters before they emerge. From social issues to infrastructure, education, to climate change, it's not perfect, but it's uncannily proactive. And don't worry, we're not just tossing around buzzwords, we're looking at actual examples, how Danish urban design prevents loneliness, why trust in governments leads to fewer laws, not more, how school systems prepare kids not for the world today, but for the world 20 years from now. I'm Elle. I did my PhD in Denmark and lived there for 5 years. It taught me things no guidebook ever could. I also run another channel where I talk about AI, machine learning, and the weird future that we're all building. So if you're curious about that side of things, check it out as well. The link is in the description below. Now, let's break down the Danish art of solving problems before they actually happen. You want to understand Denmark? Let's just start with one word. Trust. Trust in public institutions in Denmark is among the highest in the world. In fact, around 74% of Danes trust their government. Compare that to countries where trust barely scrapes 30%. But why does this matter? Because in Denmark, when the government asks you to do something, even if it's inconvenient, you usually believe there is a good reason for it. And you comply. That means policies aimed at prevention actually work. Whether it's early vaccinations, energy savings, or following urban zoning laws, citizens don't resist the change, they participate in it. A great example was actually in 2020 when Denmark had a plan to phase out all oil and gas-powered boilers by 2030. They didn't just mandate it, but they provided subsidies, a clear roadmap, and most importantly, transparency. People didn't just obey, they bought in. And the kicker is that fewer people break the rules when they believe that the rules make sense. This allows Denmark to spend less time on fixing things and more time on designing systems that don't break. Next, let's talk about design thinking. It's basically in their DNA. You've heard of design thinking in tech and business circles, but in Denmark, it's baked into everything. City planning, policy, even playgrounds. Let's take a moment to appreciate the sheer power of preventative design. Walk through Copenhagen and you'll notice no dark alleyways, no confusing intersections, bike lanes that don't just exist, but they're prioritized. Public spaces are designed not just to be functional, but emotionally safe too. They subtly reduce crime, anxiety, and isolation. This isn't just decoration, it's psychology meets urban planning. Consider this, Denmark has one of the lowest rates of senior loneliness in Europe. Why? In part because housing and neighborhoods are designed to encourage interaction, common areas, shared courtyards, walkable communities. Loneliness isn't just treated, it's anticipated. Another example is basically Danish kindergartens, which often feature risky outdoor play. Climbing trees, using tools, open-ended exploration. The idea is basically to teach kids how to assess risk early so that they don't grow up bubble-wrapped and unprepared. It's not about eliminating danger, it's about raising people who are ready for it. Next up, the fact that they're very data-driven, my favorite, but of course with boundaries. Denmark is quietly leading the way in what I'd call gentle data governance. The Danes have been using digital IDs, national registers, and health databases for decades. But they do it with a level of public consent that most countries can only dream of. When COVID hit, for example, Denmark didn't scramble to build systems from scratch. The digital infrastructure was already there. Testing, contact tracing, vaccination appointments integrated and seamless. Not perfect, but fast and effective. And the twist is that even with all this data, Denmark is cautious about how it is used. There is a built-in respect for people's boundaries. Surveillance is minimal. Data is not weaponized politically. Because of high trust and tight legal safeguards, the data is used for prevention, not control. The balance here is subtle but powerful. Gather just enough data to detect problems early, like rising obesity rates or educational disparities, and then intervene early, gently, and without creating panic. And that's a huge lesson. Prevention isn't just about spotting a crisis, it's about quietly avoiding one. Quick break, if this one is hitting home, make sure to like this video and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and lets me keep bringing you thoughtful research content like this. I invite you to take my free quiz called What Type of Dane Are You? It's fun, quick, and might just reveal more about how you see status, money, and lifestyle that you'd expect. The link is down in the description, and if you want to go one step further in supporting the channel, you can buy me a coffee. Even a small monthly amount goes a very long way to keeping this whole project running and caffeinated. Next up, let's talk about education for a second. Most school systems are designed to sort students. Denmark is designed to equip them. From a young age, Danish children are encouraged to collaborate, problem solve, and question assumptions. It's less about memorization and more about curiosity management, and that's not by accident. The Danish Ministry of Education has a stated goal to prepare students for a world that doesn't exist yet. That's why you'll find coding and climate change taught in primary school, not because every kid will become a programmer or scientist, but because these skills build mental flexibility. It's like cognitive CrossFit, basically. There's also a massive focus on emotional education. Trivsel is the word you'll hear. It roughly translates to well-being. It's measured, tracked, and discussed as seriously as math scores. Why? Because emotional resilience is one of the best long-term predictors of life success and societal stability as an extension. And when kids grow up emotionally healthy, society doesn't have to clean up as many messes later. That kind of makes sense, doesn't it? And next, welfare. In Denmark, the welfare state isn't seen as a lifeboat for the desperate. It's seen as a foundation for everyone. Free healthcare, free education, subsidized childcare, paid parental leave, high unemployment benefits. Now, yes, it is expensive. Taxes are very high, but here's what the upfront investment buys you. Fewer health crises because people go to the doctor early. Lower inequality, which reduces crime and stress. Less burnout because parents aren't choosing between income and bonding time with their kids. This isn't just generous, it is strategic. It prevents future problems. Compare that to countries that underinvest in social systems and end up spending billions on prisons, ER visits, and emergency bailouts. Prevention is always cheaper than repair. Denmark doesn't just show that, it budgets for it. And let's talk about the biggest thing that was actually the point of my study for a very long time, the climate change. Denmark has declared its intention to be carbon neutral by 2050. But the interesting part isn't the goal, but the mindset. This country isn't waiting for a catastrophe to strike, and it will. Copenhagen is literally redesigning parts of the city to manage future flooding. Not as a worst-case scenario, but as a likely one. Parks are being built with sunken green areas that double as flood zones. Roads are angled to guide water away from homes, and all new construction includes energy and climate resilient requirements. One stunning example is the Tossingepladsen, a public square that's been turned into a water park management system disguised as a beautiful park. Kids play, people relax, and underground, it's ready to absorb the next major storm. That's not just climate reaction, it's climate engineering. And that's the Danish playbook, basically. Look 20 years ahead, design for it now, and make it beautiful while you're at it. But let's be clear, Denmark is not a utopia. That cozy bike-lined image you might have in your head, it's real, of course, but it's also incomplete. The country faces serious challenges. Its immigration policies have drawn criticism for being overly strict and sometimes exclusionary, even as it prides itself on social openness. There is an ongoing crisis, particularly in Copenhagen, where young people and low-income families are increasingly priced out. And in an age of hyper-connectivity, the national conversation around digital privacy and surveillance is heating up, especially as public systems grow ever more integrated. Oh great, I reached my steps from gesticulating around. So no, Denmark doesn't get everything right, but here's what does set it apart. It doesn't wait for these problems to spiral out of control before acting. What defines Denmark is not perfection, but a national habit of foresight. A kind of quiet cultural reflex that consistently asks, what could go wrong later if I don't think about this right now? It's not a rhetorical question, it's a guiding principle, whether they're designing public infrastructure, writing new policies, or revamping education. And here's what's even more striking. Denmark can ask that question without panic. There's no doomsday drumbeat in the media, no apocalyptic gridlock in parliament, just deliberate action, consensus building, pilot projects, adjustments. The Danish model isn't built on fear of failure, it's built on comfort without iteration. You try a thing, you learn from it, and you quietly make it better. There's a phrase used often in everyday Danish life: For undgå problemer senere, it translates to avoid problems later. It sounds simple, I know, but in Denmark it's more than a saying. It's almost a cultural software update running in the background of every decision. You hear it in school meetings when teachers talk about why they're teaching social, emotional learning early. You hear it in city council debates about traffic redesign or refugee housing. You even hear it from parents decoding when to introduce screens to their children. It's not about solving everything today, it's about nudging the future into a more stable, humane shape. So no, Denmark isn't perfect, but it is built around the idea that perfection isn't even the goal. Prevention is. And that mindset, quiet, humble, and consistent, might just be the most powerful tool a society can have. So what would our cities, schools, and governments look like if we stopped firefighting and started foresighting? If we trusted early action over last-minute drama? Denmark offers us a kind of blueprint, not for how to be Nordic, but for how to be thoughtful. And if nothing else, it shows us that prevention isn't just cheaper, it's smarter, it's quieter, and sometimes it's even beautiful. If this kind of systems thinking resonates with you, hit that subscribe button. We've got deep dives coming in on Singapore's tech government, New Zealand's mental health overhaul, how Japan designs earthquakes, and check out the description below for resources, bonus content, and ways to support the channel. Tack for i dag!